And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth segment, which is going to be talking about the Colorado Rockies and the young core that is part of this organization now. But before that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please hit the link at gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so what are we going to be talking about here in our fourth segment? The Colorado Rockies, a team I don't touch upon much because why would I? They're pretty much irrelevant in this day and age with how poorly they've done and how poorly they've been managed. But I wanted to connect it to to a segment we just did, which was about the Oakland A's. And I talked about Lawrence Butler, which is the name of the segment, Lawrence Butler and his breakout season for the A's, which is the majority of it, but also connected it to the A's and the young core that they're building. The A's and the Rockies, I think, are very similar in a way. Teams that are I want to make clear that are not good, do not have great organizations, do not have great people running them, but are a team that has notoriously been bad for a little while, and because of that, I don't think people are paying attention to what they're building. When you're that bad for a little while, eventually you're going to have some people that become good, that can become big parts of your team, and are going to become good, young, talented players for you. And I think that's what happened. That's what has happened here with this Rockies team. I think there are a number of good, solid young players that have been built here that I don't think a lot of people are recognizing. So I do want to talk about that and go over players of the Rockies young core and just go over this Rockies team in general. So first off, I want to talk about the man you see on the screen, the man who made me think of this segment and made me want to talk about it. We have Mr. Ezequiel Tovar. Tovar has quickly become the Rockies' hopeful franchise shortstop after coming up as the top prospect in the Rockies organization for a few years. Tovar got a huge extension I shouldn't say huge extension, he got an 8-year extension from this Rockies team, so basically buying out most years of his rookie contract and then 1 or 2 years of buying out free agency. So obviously, if the Rockies are giving him an 8-year contract at an AAV of around $8 million as well, they obviously believe in him. They obviously think that there's something building here, and I would agree with them. Tovar recently had a 19-game hitting streak, I believe. I believe I'm getting the number right. It was something in the high 10s, above 15, I'll say. And because of that, it made me thinking about, he doesn't get a lot of credit for how well he's done and just overall this Rockies core. So I do want to go over Tovar and just a lot of other players as well. Now, Tovar's numbers don't jump off the screen. I mean, 99 weighted runs created plus, not the greatest walk percentage, all that kind of stuff, strikes out a lot. But I think when I look at Tovar, I believe I see Tim Anderson, but a good defender. So that's what I think Tovar is going to be. I think this is a guy that is not going to walk a lot. He's going to hit a lot of singles, not going to hit a lot of home runs. He's going to be a guy that hits maybe 8 to 10 home runs a year, has a walk percentage of around 5, but is always going to have a weighted runs created plus of around 110 to 115, and is also going to play really great defense. I mean, he had 13 defensive run saves last year, has 6 this year, so this is a guy that obviously knows his way around the shortstop position, can stay there for a little while, and is someone that I think can be the Rockies franchise shortstop. So that's one piece of this Rockies young core, and one piece of the equation. Next, we of course have Adel Amador, probably their top prospect. Came up this year for a little while for around 15 games. Really did not do much with them, but still is a player that I'm really watching for the future and I think can be really good. You look at MLB Pipeline right now, he is the 45 ranked prospect in MLB Pipeline. Obviously has done really well in AA this year, but did not do great when getting called up to MLB. Now, did skip AA, so maybe that's part of it, but, still has some really nice grades. 55 hit grade, 45 power grade, 55 fielding grade. So I think him and Tovar are really going to be a big part of this Rockies turnaround. And honestly, I would not be surprised if this is the Rockies' new double play combo for a number of years. After that, you have Jordan Beck, a really nice young left-handed outfielder. Hasn't done great in his time with the Rockies in the MLB, but I think shows a lot of power, can be a guy that is just a very solid corner outfielder for this Rockies team for a little while. So that's another piece that I'm trying to say where the Rockies have the pieces. Also, I want to talk about, of course, Ryan McMahon. A lot of people looked to the Rockies a little bit crazy when they didn't trade Ryan McMahon at the trade deadline. And I actually agree that they should have traded McMahon at the deadline. I mean, you could have gone probably Spencer Jones plus from the Yankees for him with how bad they need a third baseman. But McMahon is still a fantastic player. He's around 27, 28, is under contract for a long time with this Rockies team, has hit really well, and you now basically have your infield filled out. You have him at third, you have Tovar at short, and Amador at second. And that, I think, will probably be your infield going into the start of next year. you have some young pieces there. You have these young pieces building. You then have, of course, you have Jordan Beck in the outfield. You're going to have Yanquiel Fernandez, another player I want to talk about, a top prospect for the Rockies team, number 64 for MLB Pipeline. Fernandez, of course, was a international signing in 2019 for this Rockies team. 21 years old, left-handed outfielder, 6'2", 198, has hit really well in Double A ball this year with Hartford. I think could be a starting corner outfielder for you next year. So that's another piece of this Rockies core that I think is very exciting to be able to watch. Then you, of course, have the big boy, Charlie Condon. Of course, the third overall pick in the draft this year, a guy who a lot of people had as the number one prospect overall in this draft, and the Rocks were able to grab him at number 3. A lot of people, including myself, thought that was one of the biggest steals of the entire draft. So that's someone else I'm watching. I think Condon in Coors Field as well, which in fact we have not talked about as well, having all these young power-hitting prospects in Coors Field as well, is something that is fantastic. It's just specifically for Condon, this is a guy that hit 35-plus home runs in Georgia this year in the NCAA. You put him now in this park. You put him now in Coors Field, where he's probably going to be starting next year. I would assume he'll be up rather quickly. This is a guy that I would not be surprised if he hits 40-plus home runs every single year. I love Charlie Condon's swing. I love the way that he plays the game. I love him as a prospect overall, and he is going to be such a huge part of this Rockies team. Not sure if he's a corner outfielder, if he's a first baseman, if he's a DH in the future, but still, he's a fantastic player going into the future, and that's someone I'm just enthralled with if I was a Rockies fan. Zach Veen, a former first round pick from the Rockies as well, a guy who I've been super high on consistently throughout the years, but really has never shown his true prowess throughout the minor leagues. But now being 22, still in Double A ball, he's hit the ball really, really well, and with that, 50 hit grade, 45 power grade, which is higher at one point, being 6'3", almost 200 pounds. I think the power is finally starting to show, and I think he could be a really big part of this Rockies core going into the future. Looking at the pitching as well, it's really not that bad. Chase Dollander, one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. Again, we'll have to see how he performs in Colorado, in Coors Field, how that's a factor, but I think is going to be a really plus pitcher in this league. Kyle Quantrill, a guy who's really broken out since coming to Colorado this year. We thought he would be traded at the deadline, but he wasn't, so hey, maybe the Rockies extend him, make him a part of this rotation. German Marquez just came back from Tommy John. He's probably the best pitcher in Rockies franchise history already, so you have that as well. You have Brody Brecht, who was taken in the second round, of course, was a projected top 10 pick in the draft before this year, so as much as the Rockies don't get a lot of credit for what they're doing, and they probably shouldn't, they have quietly a young, good core building here that I did want to give some credit on. So if I'm a Rockies fan, I think for the first time in a long, long time, I would be excited about what this core looks like, what this team looks like, and how overall this Rockies future is going to be looking. There's finally a plan in place, I would say, that makes you as a Rockies fan go, you know what? I have some hope here. I think my team could be good in the next 2 to 3 years. This NL West isn't going anywhere, believe me. The Padres can just get more and more, inflection of young talent there. Diamondbacks are just going to get better with all the young players they have there. Dodgers are always going to be the Dodgers. Giants might blow it up, but hey, you still have those 3 fantastic teams confirmed above you. So NL West is going to get really, really interesting these next few years, and I think the Rocks could be a part of it. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, they could be a good team, genuinely. And I think if these players continue developing, as I think they will, they could be a team that we're looking at and saying, hey, where did they come from? They're in, the wild card spot. They're looking good. So I'm really happy for Rockies fans. I love that ballpark. I've never been there yet. It's one of the 6 I have not been, so I'm hoping to go there sooner rather than later. And yeah, overall, just really exciting, this Rockies team, and really excited to be a Rockies fan right now. I think finally have something good to watch and something exciting to root for. So that is my 4th segment here, going over the Rockies and their young core. Moving into our 5th segment, which is going to be talking about the White Sox calling up top pitching prospect Kai Busch from their farm system. So we'll be going over that, talking about it, and we'll be going to our 4th and final break here, though, before that. So we'll see you after that. So thanks, and bye.